So Linus Tech Tips is getting destroyed right now by the tech community because people have been doing videos explaining and analyzing his research. As you guys know, Linus Tech Tips is not just one guy running a YouTube channel. It's actually a business with several employees and research teams as well, right? And they are the top subscribed tech channel on YouTube. So as a result, a lot of people trust Linus and his company to provide valuable, accurate, scientific information about the technology that they review. Unfortunately, not only is some of his reporting just not accurate, but in this case, Linus and his team actually did a terrible review of a product, which resulted in them reviewing a company's GPU and then just selling it before it was intended to be released instead of sending it back to random auctioners at a convention.
Yeah,
which is like theft. You know, I don't even know. That's like 20 different crimes in once.
There's like 20 different layers of just horribleness. Like, I think he even says like that the company was needing that as the prototype to send to other YouTubers to review, and just it's just absolutely terrible. I mean, this Gamer's Nexus guy, who we're going to react to some of his video, he goes in depth for like 45 minutes straight about just a bunch of bullshit that Linus has done, all his terrible reviews, just like the problems with him. We're going to react to a little segment of it here, but
just a tiny segment of it, but I'd highly recommend checking out the full video. Also, we will be going over Linus's response because he did make a response video that's getting a lot of criticism right now because there was some jokes said in the video, so people are saying that he wasn't really taking it that seriously.
Yeah, I guess it's monetized too, which, I mean, you know.
Whatever. I don't really care if it's monetized.
Yeah.
Let's just watch a little bit of Gamer Nexus's video segment where he goes over, he goes over a lot of stuff in this video, but specifically, let's take a look at Linus's review of this GPU.
On June 24th, LTT published a video about a copper water block made by a small company called Billet Labs, founded just last year. LTT took one of the company's first prototypes to test, valued in the thousands of dollars for manufacturing, not counting opportunity value. In the video, the LTT team stuck this special 3090 Ti water block on an RTX 4090.
If this wasn't a 3090 Ti, then we don't have another 3090 Ti that we can take apart.
How the hell did we not know what GPU this thing was?
I thought it was a 3090 Ti.
So we just
Wait a minute. So this is like, I understand Linus has multiple people that help in the production of his video. They're actively like uninformed and missing a part, and yet this is in the final video.
Yeah, and they're also, not only are they uninformed missing a part, they're about to just use the incorrect part anyway, even though they're aware of this incorrect part, and just continue on with it. This is basically like, if you don't know anything about computers and all these words just make no sense to you, it's basically like if you were trying to build like a house with like bricks and wood, and then you show up with like plastic and cardboard, and then you're like, what's going on? What?
Yeah, fuck, we ran out of the wrong parts. You just use it anyway.
And
then your house is shit. You record a review of it. You're like, this house is shit. It's like, well, yeah, because you built it the wrong way. That's basically what they're doing right here, right? Yeah. They're trying to build a computer, and certain parts need certain other parts in combination with them to work, but they're just throwing random parts together. Turns out the computer is shit, and then they're using that to give a negative review of this GPU that's not even out yet. This company sent Linus this GPU specifically for him to review, and he made an incorrect, misinformed review, which then negatively affects them because now Linus's entire audience that trusts him for accurate reviews is shitting on this poor company because Linus didn't do his research correctly.
Yeah. Now, I will just say, to be fair, I'm also not super educated on, these tech kind of things, so I might be saying the wrong words, and I get some comments are like, actually, technically, it wasn't a GPU, it was this.
Yeah.
But you get the point. I mean, what we're saying is they should know better. This is their job. Our job is to sit down and laugh at stupid shit on Twitter and laugh at stupid shit on YouTube.
Right.
This is what they get paid. I mean, I think their company's worth millions and millions of dollars, so they should be informed. And I mean, this guy breaks it all down. So this is, it's an embarrassment. It's not, you should not be failing this hard if this is your whole gig.
Actually had a 4090 sitting on the shelf, clearly labeled,
stating that it should work, despite it not being explicitly compatible. The company did not tell LMG that it would be 4090 compatible. They told LMG that they could try to use a 4090, but Billet Labs itself had not tested one as it didn't have a 4090 at the time. Water blocks have very specific tolerances and clearances for components, so any misalignment would cause poor contact to the GPU core. LMG decided to try it and continued with the video despite misrepresenting the product massively by using it on an incompatible device that it literally would not fit properly. LTT's presentation goes down the path of being irresponsible, presenting the product as much more difficult to work with than it would be if used properly. The conclusion is...
Yeah, so the conclusion there is that they gave this company a shit review incorrectly, and now the company's like, well, what the fuck? And they even say that in a YouTube comment.
Yeah, I mean, I basically, like I said, I'm uninformed of this kind of stuff, so I would be the type of person to watch Linus's video and be like, hey, if I'm gonna make this purchase, is this gonna be good? I would research this because I don't really know shit about it. I don't know shit about. I think they're selling cooling or whatever. I don't know shit. But if I was gonna buy it, I would look this up. I would watch this video, and then I guess my takeaway would be, well, it's difficult and it looks like shit, so fuck it, I'm not gonna buy it.
Yeah,
Well, it turns
and then
out
the
that's
company's just losing. I mean, this is defamatory.
Yeah.
You can't post this.
Yeah, no.
But as we're gonna find when we continue watching the video, this isn't even close to the worst thing Linus did to this company.
but it's a bad product.
It looks great.
Yeah, it looks super cool.
Are you just saying it's
I don't
bad
think
just purely because of the price?
It's bad because it makes absolutely no sense and nobody should buy it.
Wow.
So this is Linus doubling down on his poor review after getting criticism from it, right? On his live podcast. And even on his podcast where he's more loose, I mean, he's just being flat out like, you know, destructive to this company, saying, yeah, their product just doesn't work, man. It's just shit. Don't buy it. He's just saying that, slandering them even further on his own show.
Wow.
Most of the community is actually really amazing. But there's a vocal minority that looks at something like that and goes, lazy, out of touch, you know, whatever else. No, I'm just really experienced at this.
As long as you got it.
Did you put it in backwards?
Get a shot of that. Look at that.
It founds this conclusion on the basis of improper installation. This serves no one. It needlessly harms a small company, and this kind of behavior can kill someone's life work in a heartbeat, and it'd be based on invalid testing and presentation.
Yeah, so this is somebody from the company even talk about this. They're like, we love Linus Tech Tips, but it was difficult to watch their criticisms when pretty much every design issue that Linus raised was done for a reason, which was all explained to Adam weeks ago, and none of which, I guess, was fed back to Linus. We also sent a full instruction manual that seemingly wasn't used.
Wow.
So they told Linus how to install it, and he installed it improperly. They tried to make sure this wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
He installed it improperly, so the product didn't work to its full potential or even well at all. And then based on that performance, because of Linus's own failure to install it correctly, he said the GPU is shit. Great. I mean, that's just awesome. That's what I want to see from the #1 biggest subscribed tech channel on YouTube, which, I mean, I think Marquez Brownlee might beat him in that, but still, he's one of the highest tech channels. You would expect some better research here, huh?
Yeah, some better research, some better accountability, transparency.
Some better testing.
Knowledge, just general knowledge of how these things should work, and just general thoroughness around making sure you have the instruction manual, making sure everything's communicated between all the different parties. They basically just threw these parts on the table, said, well, shit, we don't even have the right parts. Fuck it, and just started nailing them together. It's like, okay.
Yeah, and I'm surprised this guy from Billet Labs is even opening up his message by saying, like, look, we love Linus, but let's just be honest, his review was shit. If I was anybody from that company, I would hate Linus, and I would want Linus sued.
I would too, but look at this first tweet. He didn't even read this in the video. Great video, guys. This block was specifically for a 3090 Ti, not a 4090. We've obtained a 4090 to test with, and using it with a 3090 block leaves a gap around 1 millimeter over the die, so it's never going to cool properly. So basically they're explaining, yeah, we told you it's for a 3090, and you guys, if you use it on that, it's going to not cool because of the gap. There's a little bit of a gap that lets heat in or whatever. I don't know. It doesn't cool it. Like I said, I don't know how this works. But obviously, if I was a tech company, this would be my job. I would be looking into that, and I wouldn't be uninformed. It's basically like if they threw me in there, figure this out. I'm just like, okay,
yeah.
I guess it doesn't work. It's like, come on, really?
This is just flashbacks to like when The Verge tried to do this PC building tutorial, and they had this guy on there who didn't know jack shit about PCs, and
Yeah.
everybody made fun of that. The difference is, though, The Verge and a lot of tech like news companies or whatever, or news media companies, have horrible reputations. Nobody likes them. It's like Kotaku back in the day. Nobody liked them either for their game reviews. You know, you would expect that from some shitty corporate soulless company, not from Linus, who's supposed to be like, you know, a guy that built his channel from a raw, genuine interest in, you know, the technology world. Well, here he is slandering this company, but don't worry, all right? They're there to correct him in the comments, and when Linus receives this correction from them, does he think, oh, fuck, we did this horribly, like we should delete the video and redo it?
Yeah.
No, he hearts their comment and just ignores it.
Yeah, and then actually he goes on to say that it would be horrible for him to redo it because it would cost him a few $100s of people's time.
Wow.
Which I think he says immediately after this.
Nothing would have changed. Nothing that obeys the laws of physics would have changed the conclusion.
That statement is
That's just not
wrong.
true.
That's just completely wrong.
What do you mean?
Wow.
already a reckless and problematic doubling down, considering the elimination of any possibility to change the conclusion, including a 20-degree reduction, which should change the conclusion.
If the GPU had been 5 degrees cooler, that would have been the conclusion. If it had been 10 degrees cooler, that would have been the conclusion. If it had been 20 degrees cooler, that would have been the conclusion.
And we're not alone in saying they should have just done it properly. At least then you have grounds to stand on for criticism.
So Linus's response is to say like, oh, well, it doesn't matter if it was like cooler, it still wouldn't have performed as well. But he bases that off of nothing. He just assumes that the results would be the same. Yeah. Well, given that you have a guy from the company and the company itself providing you the instructions that you ignored and did incorrectly, I have to just base this off of what the company's saying, which they're backing up with like their own instructions and you know, their own procedure, versus what you're saying, which is out of your ass.
Yeah.
So why would I trust you over them? Like, you haven't okay, if you think the results would have been the same, just reshoot the video and prove us all wrong.
Yeah.
Install it correctly, and if the graphics card still performs like shit, then we're owned, I guess. Like, yeah, you're right, but you didn't do that.
No, he didn't do that at all. And I think this employee right here is about to give him a little bit of pushback and try to be like, so do you think we really should just redone it? That probably would have been a good idea. And he's gonna like, no, immediately not.
Get not wanting to retest, but I do think probably just testing it with the thing that they knew it worked with in the first place probably would have made sense. Because like you're saying, the test result itself doesn't matter. But if it's just supposed to look cool, then it should be seated properly so it looks cool.
After about 5 minutes of rambling, the conclusion effectively was, lol, it still sucks though.
Nice.
Linus then, after publicly humiliating and trashing the work of two guys just getting their start in business while relying on zero effort to examine the thing correctly, complains about how he'd have to spend $100 to $500 more on an employee's time to test it properly.
But I'm not... I don't know, guys. I'm not sure if I can apologize for not spending another $100, $200, $300, $500 of various people's time sitting and engineering a workaround to a product that no matter the result, nobody should buy.
Wow.
No matter the result, nobody should buy. So when presented with the idea of reshooting the video, he's like, well, I don't think I have to spend all this time and money redoing it because the product is always going to be shit. So he just repeats himself. Like, he's obviously emotional on his own show. You know, he's getting pressed for it. And instead of manning up and taking responsibility and admitting his poor research and poor testing, instead of doing that, he actually goes a lot worse by mocking the idea of redoing his shitty work by saying, oh, I don't have to. It's bad. Just slandering the company over and over and over again. Why?
Yeah, well, not only mocking his own, I mean, not only like acting mockery and all that kind of stuff, he's also basically saying with this that his channel is not about the truth. His channel is not about accurate testing. His channel is not about making sure that you're doing things correctly. Linus Tech Tips is about saving as much money as possible, doing things as efficiently and as cheaply as possible in disregard for the truth. I mean, that's what he's saying straight up for that sentence. He's saying the truth doesn't matter, accurate testing doesn't matter. How can I save as much money as possible and produce content in the shittiest way possible as a tech company? That is what he's saying outright. I mean, that's just word for word what he's saying.
Yeah.
So you've just given up all your ethics, you've given up all your trust immediately within one sentence.
All your credibility.
I will not look at, I mean, I'm a guy who doesn't know anything about it. I'm not going to watch Linus Tech Tips ever again for any sort of computer related things. I will look for something else.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if people are going to make mistakes, right? Like, obviously that's going to happen. Just reshoot the video. It's not that big of a deal. He's also like, I'm sure he's overinflating like how much time and energy it would take to reshoot it anyway. It's like, is it really that big of a deal?
Yeah.
Just install correctly and, you know, record.
Yeah, just like get the right part, throw a couple of you in there and re-record it. It's not that difficult. Then edit it and post it. But welcome to being a YouTuber and welcome to doing something correctly when you fuck up. I mean, that's just life, right?
Yeah, I mean, what this situation really is I think a lot of the other tech channels that are smaller, that are putting more time and effort into their videos, what they're realizing is that Linus, the guy at the top, isn't really always cracked out to be, and maybe the reason he's at the top is because he's prioritized, you know, getting a video out for the algorithm with minimal research, minimal care, or whatever, is actually what's making him so successful and not the credibility of his research and content. But we're not even at the worst part of the video yet. The auction. That's right. Linus decides to auction off this piece of technology that's not even released yet at a random convention.
And also with no permission from the lab, he just decided to do it because fuck it, why not?
Yeah.
Now, we don't have any connection to Billet Labs, and that comment was offensive even to us, so we can't imagine how heartbroken they must have been. Linus, in order to protect his company's bottom line, was willing to potentially inflict immeasurable harm to a startup rather than spend, by his own admission, a couple $100 in someone else's time out of the $100 million company's coffer. Making matters worse, in conversations with Billet Labs, Gamers Nexus learned that the company asked for the prototype back on June 28th. This would allow them to send it out to other media or use it for further development. Linus Media Group agreed at least twice to return the product. The first time they agreed to send it back was June 30th. At LTX, Linus Media Group put the one-of-a-kind water block up for auction at its Extra
What
Life
the
auction
fuck?
event.
This is so illegal. You can't do this. Like, what? You don't even have to know shit about technology. Dude, like Nintendo, for instance, they used to send out games early to, like, you know, random ambassadors, aka YouTubers, right? So that YouTubers could record all the footage, record and edit their reviews of the games, so that when the embargo date is lifted, then they're allowed to release all their footage before everybody else gets a hold of the game themselves, right? This would be the example of, like, if Nintendo sent me a console or a game like a month early so I could record it, and then I just fucking sold it to some random guy on the street.
Yeah,
that would fuck me over completely.
Yeah, that would be horribly illegal. And you probably could also sell it for like double the price, but that doesn't really mean anything. Even if you paid the original company back.
Yeah.
Oh, my bad, I sold it, but I'll reimburse you for however much it costs you. Yeah, no, that's not what it's about. It's about, this is their product and you didn't get permission and you don't know anything about this. And they also requested to get it back and you just ignored it.
Yeah, their prototype is now also out there in the public or whatever, so like anybody can get a hold and examine their, you know, design or their engineering or whatever and copy it. So, you know, all of that shit's just completely fucking leaked now because Linus sold it randomly?
Wow.
Really? Why the fuck would you even do that?
I don't even know.
I mean, I can't wait to see what Linus has to say for this, you know?
Billet did not learn of this until around August 11th, at which point it was told the block is gone. Again, this is despite LMG
Sorry,
agreeing
we
in late
sold
June
it.
to send it back, as LMG would have no further use for the block. Billet told us that it is now stalled, as it no longer has its best prototype available for continued development. It's also...
So that was also their only prototype. They sent it to Linus, he lost it and sold it.
Yeah, he fucked up the installment and then just auctioned it off without communicating anything.
What is wrong with this guy?
It's just disgusting.
That's like so insanely stupid.
I don't even get it. We're gonna go over his apology in this video because we watched a couple minutes of it and immediately he's already making excuses like instantly. And then yeah, there's also some other stuff that broke out that we might cover here as well with like
workplace mistreatment
and stuff and just crazy things like that. So we're gonna review all of it, but I want to see what he had to say about this just terrible research that he did on this product.
Now, of course, as we mentioned, this apology is getting a lot of criticism for being monetized and containing jokes. People are saying they weren't taking the allegations too seriously. To be honest, I feel like there's criticisms to be made about this video that are a little bit deeper and worse than they said a joke randomly and it's monetized. Like,
hey, it's me. I'm Chief Vision Officer now, but realistically, I'm not going to be able to hide behind my recent demotion here. I was the one at the head of the company for each and every mistake that our community has rightly brought to our attention. And once again, I made things worse by allowing myself to respond emotionally. It's honestly really hard when people take an internal process error and then they run that all the way to Linus is a thief and wants to auction someone else's intellectual property to the highest bidder, or accuses me of trying to brush something under the rug just because I do think it's important to get all the details before declaring me to be a low-down liar, straight-up piece of
well, okay, Linus, welcome to the fucking internet. I mean, I don't really know what you're crying about, right?
Yeah, I mean, we get shit on for like the most random things of all time where I'm just like surprised that people will say that, and we're just a like, you know, commentary channel, just talk about shit. I mean, obviously, if you're involving thousands and thousands of dollars of products, you have like this huge mega company behind you, you're one of the most subscribed tech channels, you know, you're dealing with small companies that are giving you their prototypes, of course you're gonna get shit, especially when you auction their shit off. I mean, people are going to react extremely to the way that you react, especially if you react poorly.
Well, a lot of people that get accused of like a lot of shit, they'll come out there and they'll be like, I can't believe you guys didn't stand by me and you had to wait for me to respond. It's like, well, should people have a more rational approach where when they hear an allegation, they do wait for your response, but they're, you know, still skeptical and then they want to hear you? Should that happen? Yes. But this is the fucking internet, all right? People are emotional, they're retarded, they don't think deeply about really anything, right?
No.
So obviously if you're, you know, getting accused of and pretty validly so, of fucking up a review of a specific product by installing it improperly and then shitting on that company product based on your own failure to understand how it should be installed properly, and then auctioning it off at a random convention. If all of this stuff is happening and there's a different answer, well, obviously you should not be stupid and wonder, why is everyone shitting on me without me even responding yet? I mean, this is just human nature, so deal with it.
This is what they were told. Correct the record. But I don't think that a lot of what he said was completely wrong. I think that a lot of what he said is true. I mean, based on the company's own notion themselves and the company's testimony, it's true. So of course you're gonna get shit on.
Well, let's hear him out now.
We were slow shipping back the GPU that Billet Labs sent us. There's no way around it. That's our bad. But the delay in communication, the one that prompted the post that you guys just saw, it was less than 2 business days. The second that I was made aware of the situation on the 14th, I emailed Billet Labs and I explained what happened. I even included Colton's attempt at apologizing and offering, no questions asked, full compensation for their stated value of the product, which happened on the 10th, before we were under any pressure to do so and without Colton even bothering to check with me or Yvonne before just saying, go for it. He knows that our internal policy is to do the right thing. So he tried, bless him. I guess his job is safe for another day. And I'm sorry, I guess I've actually gotten a little bit emotional here again. So I'm gonna stop there because whatever's being said about me and whatever's being said about the team should never have allowed my feelings to distract from any valid criticism of our work.
So wait, I'm confused there. So he just denies the auction ever took place in the first place?
I don't know. He just didn't really address it. I mean, he basically just says, we offer them full compensation on the 10th. And I think that the original video by Nexus that we watched said that they weren't even made aware of the auction until the 11th.
Right.
So I guess that on the 10th, they sent an email. They were like, I'm so sorry. We don't have the product anymore. We'll give you full compensation for value of the product. That's what he just said.
Okay.
We'll give you the value of the product, which is not really worth shit because you have to they would still have to theoretically reproduce it. Like they should just get the product back. You just send it back. It's not just about the value of it, especially as a prototype.
Well, they can't do that, I guess, because they did sell it off, which Linus doesn't really confirm or deny whether that happened. All he said was they were unable to ship the product back. So it's like, well, what the fuck happened to it?
Yeah, and he's just also making it about himself. He's like, you know, the delay in the email that prompted those Reddit posts that we just looked at, those extreme responses, it was 2 days, guys. Come on. Why are you guys responding like that? I just waited 2 days. They're not responding like that because you waited 2 days to make an email, dumbass. They're responding like that because of the horrible ethics that you had, the terrible response that you had, the just like auctioning off the product. You're acting like they're responding that extremely because you took 2 days to email them. No, that's not why they responded like that.
Yeah, this is a very strange response. How does he finish this off? Does he just cry?
My decision, for example, to not bother retesting the monoblock, that was obviously wrong, and my lame response on the forum was a huge and unnecessary blunder.
Good.
I owe you guys better, and I'm sorry. For my part, first, I'm going to be working through the other members of the exec team for any crisis communication moving forward, and second, I'm going to spend my week working with the other teams to develop a system of processes that will help our company fulfill my vision of being a world-class tech media organization. I'm also going to be spending my week just refocusing, guys, on what matters most, which is bringing you guys the best damn content that we can make. It's been over 10 years. Good Lord, it's been almost 15. But I still love tech. I love my team, and even though our relationship's a little rocky right now, I love this community and everything that it stands for. None of that has changed, and none of it is going to.
Then it fast forwards to their new CEO concluding the whole video there. So Linus, I mean, to be fair, he does take responsibility, right?
I mean, yeah, he just says, sorry, I fucked up. I mean, he should. I feel like he should be groveling on his knees to this company.
Yeah.
Based on what he did. He didn't say anything about the company, about Billet Labs. I mean, he basically just
said, didn't apologize to them.
Yeah, he was just like, look, we should have reviewed it again. My bad.
We should have reviewed it again. We should have sent it back to you like in a timely manner or at all, right?
But yeah, he also should have been like, I shouldn't have gone on the podcast and slandered your company and said that it's a bad product.
Yeah, I feel like he's not addressing like the most important stuff here.
Yeah, I mean, he's doing somewhat, but it seems very
there's some stuff missing from this.
Yeah, it seems very minimal. And I'm not, I don't know. I don't know much about Linus Tech Tips. The few things I've seen of him, he seems very like avoidance of these kind of things, and
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, and he talked about how he's going to be working directly with his like crisis management team. Like, I think who else has said that recently? Didn't we hear that from like FouseyTube?
Yeah, probably his crisis management.
Why does every
Oh my
social
God.
media YouTube guy need like a crisis PR team? It's like, can you guys just hold it together and not like cry on your podcast? Like, entertain this idea, right? Maybe if you're getting a bunch of criticism or hate online, actually examine the hate and criticism and make a better informed decision of whether it's just meaningless hatred, that it all just random, oh, it's just drama that's unnecessary, or do they actually have a point?
Yeah.
Right? Because I feel like most YouTubers, whenever they get hate online, they instantly just lock their brains into going, I'm getting hate online, they must be irrelevant and pieces of shit that I should ignore or fuck off,
Right.
It's like, well, yeah, in a lot of cases that might be the case, right? But you have to actually examine what people are shitting on you over and whether they have a point or not. Because a lot of times they do.
Yeah, no, they do usually.